Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'll be talking about this pen over here. I recently bought a bunch of pens, but I feel like each of them sort of deserve a dedicated review, at least for a few of them that are more interesting. For example, this one is the Hongdian 60135S. I don't even know what that says there. Hold up. 6013S pen. And this is actually a very similar pen to the one that I just reviewed, which is this one over here, the Black Forest pen. You can see that both of them are about the same size in terms of length, although this one is a little bit fatter. I've read some reviews online that say that this pen that I'm reviewing today is actually similar to the Emotion, but I've used an Emotion before. I've tried it in store and I do really like it, but it's definitely way bigger as well as heavier than this pen over here. So you can see that both of these have this sort of guilloche-like pattern. This one has a little bit of engraving on the cap as well, but definitely the shape of it does look a little bit like the Emotion as well as the clip, and that's the Faber-Castell pen. It does also look a little bit like the Lamy 2000 if I just ignore the fact, like ignore all of this stuff and I just look at it in terms of like the shape. It does kind of look like the stainless steel version of the Lamy 2000. But anyway, this one is a twist cap. I got it in a medium. One downside for me for this pen is that I feel like the nib that it came with, which is a gold two-tone number 5 steel nib, is a little bit small compared to the pen, right? Like look at it, it's like this big. You kind of expect a bigger nib. This looks a little bit unbalanced and like it's just not harmonious, the size of the nib with the rest of the pen. In addition, I don't like the fact that it's a gold because this is very much like a aluminum silver sort of colorway, and to me that just clashes a bit. So I would definitely be changing out the nib for this, and I'll do a video later about how I change all these nibs around and etc., because I got some pens recently that came in extra fine and I don't like extra fine, so I'm probably going to switch the medium into the extra fine, and then I'm going to give this a Naginata nib that I got from that video I made. It's the most affordable or best pen under $10. So really excited for this one. It looks like this, the different kinds of embossing. It's like a flower-like pattern that kind of also looks a little bit like flames. And then it goes all the way to this middle part that has a couple of checkered pattern and then a little bit of a just a groove there, column like figure. It does look a little bit like those hats that you see in Chinese dramas that kind of like stick out on the side. I'll draw one in a little bit for you guys, but today I'm using Mnemosine. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure. It's like a Greek mythology thing, right? This one. Mnemosine. The M should be silent, I think. Anyway, I'm using this paper today. And so let's get to writing. What ink should I use? I feel like I've used TWSBI Black so often because I always have it in the sample list, but I have a bunch of other samples that I could also use. So let's do something different today. Maybe we'll use that one over here, which is the Sailor Ultramarine. I'm just too lazy to go get my full-sized ink, but we will do a little dip for this one. Oh, and I forgot to say, the cap also has the name of the model, which is really, really helpful. And another thing, the clip is not as springy. You can see it opens a little bit, but it does take quite a bit of force. And this is a cartridge converter. There we go, right over here. This converter looks a little bit nicer than the other ones. It also says Hongdian on it. All right, so does it post real quick before we get to dipping? Yep, very securely. And is it back weighted when it posts? I always forget to do these things because I don't post my pens. So I'm like, this is not a problem for me. But if you do post your pen, it does back weight it. Quite a bit of the weight is in the cap. I personally would not recommend it. Although obviously biased because don't like posting. All right, let's give this ink a try. It is, look, it looks like a regular navy sort of ink. Nothing special. Okay, I think that should be enough. And this is the Hongdian. Oh, I did not get enough. Okay. Okay, what about now? Probably now. Hongdian 6013S fountain pen. And I got this with a medium two-tone steel nib. And it feels pretty good in the hand. It has a wider grip section than the previous pen that I showed within this video. I like it. It's not slippery. It has these grooves too if your hands get really, if they're super dry and slippery, or if they get really sweaty and they're slippery. It's funny how the two extremes will cause you to lose the grip on the pen. All right, so let's give this a go. Okay, let's try some. It writes really smooth, so I can see it is a smooth and wet writer. It has very little feedback, this one. I'm pretty sure this is like the exact same nib as the Black Forest, but Black Forest had a bit of feedback. This is glassy. Like nothing. Yeah, super smooth. Really nice. It actually feels a bit like a pilot nib, this one. But again, you can never tell with these pens because sometimes the QC is done really well and they all feel like this, and then sometimes they're just weird. But overall, I find that Hongdian is like, most of the time they're gonna write and they're gonna be fine. But it's just like the degree of feedback might not be consistent amongst all of them. Like this one is glassy smooth, but then the other one will have like a pencil-like feedback. I like both types, so I'm totally fine with it. But for someone who has a strong preference for one of these, then this, you're taking a gamble, basically. But it will still write. And I think for most people, it's really nice to write. I'm very pleasantly surprised. This is like really nice. And it's such a pretty pen, so I gotta write that down, right? I didn't realize that this ink, it writes down like a classic blue, almost like the Pelican or Kaweco blue. But then like when it dries down, it's sort of like a violet, powdery blue sort of color. I really like that, and it matches my nails today. I might ink this up with this pen, like with this later. This nib is really nice though. This is fantastic. Too bad that it doesn't look like the other, doesn't look like it fits the pen. One thing about this is that I would say that this feels very similar, like I said, to a Pilot. Or I'm trying to think of, I have another pen that probably feels like this. My Rotarings. My Rotarings feel like this pen, but that again, those are like vintage, right? So it's hard to make a direct comparison. I would just say it feels like a standard Pilot. Like if you have like a Pilot Metro, the medium, it will feel somewhat like this. And I think this one is actually will be a little bit thicker too. So this pen comes in extra fine, fine, and medium. This is the one that I have. And I just really like it. I would recommend this pen. I think we'll see if in the future it has any issues with dry out or anything like that. I don't think so, because I haven't had that issue with any of my other Hongdian pens, even the ones that are way cheaper than this. So speaking of that, let's go get into price. This pen is around the $30 to $40 mark for me where I am. And sometimes you'll find it for cheaper and sometimes you'll find it for more. I find that for the most part, you will find it for more. So I've seen this sometimes go for like, I don't know, 45. And like, while I wouldn't pay that amount for this pen, because I think that it's actually, it's worth that like $35, $40 mark. I think once you go over it, then you might be paying a little bit too much. That being said, if it wasn't like a Chinese pen and you are buying another type of pen, let's just say a Japanese pen, and it wrote like this, looked like this for like 40 and over, then that would kind of be a steal. It's just that this brand makes affordable pens, and therefore I wouldn't pay more than a specific point for these pens. Of course, there are more extravagant ones from Hongdian that are worth more than that. And I do think that under the $40 mark, you are getting a lot of bang for your buck for this pen. It is really, really pretty. And I love silver pens. Silver and green are kind of like my things. And also gold in my fountain pen collection. So I am going to really enjoy this one. So yeah, so that's my review. Oh, I would give it higher than the other one. I like the way this one feels better. I would say that this gets like a 8.5 out of 10 for me. And the way that I grade these is that basically if you get 7.5, that's average for me, because that's like 75, right? That's a B. And so this would be an 8.5. Usually that's like a 4.0 on the university scale, the GPA scale, or you would say that this is like a solid like A, right? They've just moved from A- into A, and that's what I would give it. So with that, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you get this pen. It's like so nice. Or if you have any pen recommendations, that would also be great. See ya.